Fond memories. The first time we went to Universal Studio, the first time we went to Botanic Garden, the first time we did the zoo. I did many zoos in my life, in many places, in many countries, and I have to admit Singapore Zoo is one of the best I've ever experienced. Or many came to my mind. Bonjour, je m'appelle Alan, je suis français, j'ai 42 ans. Hello, my name is Alan, I'm French and I'm 42 years old. So I grew up in Africa from few months old until I was 16. So I grew up in West Africa countries and Central Africa countries where we say Senegal, Ivory Coast, Gabon and Congo. Then I moved back to France. I was 16. I did my study in the hospital industry. And I moved to China when I was 23 years old, where I stayed for 10 years. And in 2014, I moved to Singapore. So my father was born in Africa during the Second World War. His father was an officer army. That's why he was sent to Africa to train the African to become soldier, but that's another part. So my father grew up over there. My time in Africa was amazing because of my parents' work. My father was in the wood industry. He had to go through the jungle. So with my mother and my sister, we used to follow him for a long adventure through the jungle. So the weather was nice, same as Singapore, always sunny all year long with many rains. So we were spending most of our time outside playing around, which was an amazing time, and I wish that for my kids as well. But unfortunately, it's not the same environment for them here. I didn't disconnect with France because I was going back to France every summer. So we were always being taken care by our grandparents, going to their summer house. But the first year moving back to France was a bit challenging because you move to one way of living to another. So I had to make new friends, also with a new environment, the seasonality in France. So to get used to the cold, making new connection with friends was a bit of challenge because my background and my stories had to be put aside to adapt to the way of living in France. When I finished my study, I had something deep inside me to go travel abroad and overseas, and I really wanted to go as far as possible. At that time, 2004, I was 23 years old. Not many people were talking that much as we are talking about China nowadays, and my parents and my family were a bit hesitating for me to take this adventure, but they say, you grew up in a foreign country, you want to go, we cannot block you, so try your luck. The reason why China is because I was looking for internship ship and I found one in China, in Chengdu. Then I take the first plane and here started my adventure in China. I really wanted to immerse myself in a new country where the way of life, the language is totally opposite at what I was living through. So during my time and my many adventures in China, this is where I met my wife, Malaysian Chinese, Pia Singaporean. We got married in Singapore, then flew back to China. And when the second child was conceived, she decided for the sake of the family that a better environment would be Singapore. So she knew that the education system was one of the best in the world and will give a brighter future for our kids. So we decided to prepare and move to Singapore. When I came to Singapore, yes, I found many challenges because it was to readapt to a way of life in a much smaller country, a very dynamic and competitive country. So the great things in Singapore I've experienced, one, taxes, if I'm not wrong, is one of the lowest taxes in the world. And number two, also I opened a few years ago a business and I was amazed how easy to open my business. I went online, I clicked, and within few minutes my business was on. I'm very big supporter of the CPF scheme because it helps you to anticipate for your golden age. Number two, the security. So you feel very safe in Singapore. My daughter is 13 years old. She can go to school by her own with us, with having no worries. Number three, I would say the facilities that Singapore offers. You have the possibility to have access to any type of food, any type of services, the activity that Singapore provides. So you don't keep bored. You can do quite a lot of activities on weekends, being both indoor and outdoor. And then I adapted myself and I started to enjoy Singapore. So French people love food, but what's the best to pair with food is wine. And what's the best to pair food and wine with is people. One of my hobbies in Singapore is to do a lot of home dinner. Not my place, too small, but going to friends' place. I like to mingle around, so I have a lot of Singaporean friends. I'm friends from different nationality. 10 good friends, help together quite frequently on a weekly basis. And among those 10, maybe 2 are French. I'm very open to new type of foods, and Singapore, I think you have a rich culture in terms of food. So favorite, I'm a meat eater, so I like pakute, I like laksa.
So it's the first time I'm trying Penang laksa. This is a bit sourish, but it's nice with the fish sardines, huh?
Yeah, I would say Singaporean is a mix of Chinese, Indian, Malay food. So I love Indian food as well. Plata, I love to have plata with a bit of curry, dipping. Is it something I would eat every day? No, because I like to cook, so I cook myself on a daily basis, and I try to mix between French to local flavors. So how's going to be the next 10 years? That's a big question because I'm 42 years old. I think the main target is to make sure that my kids grow up and do their study. One, my boy to go through NS and then do the university. And once this is done, I think I will have less worried. The next 10 years is to make sure that I'm a bread maker and I provide financially and spiritually and physically for my kids. If I see a younger version of myself coming for the first time into Singapore, I would say don't make any judgment, embrace the place and take the good things and emphasize it to get the better outcome. Ma chère maman, cela fait quelques années que nous ne sommes pas vus physiquement et je me suis dit que t'écrire serait une lettre et une preuve d'attention particulière pour te donner des nouvelles. Les mots écrits peuvent transmettre plus de sentiments que les mots dits. Voici donc ces petits mots pour te dire que les enfants et moi pensons très fort à toi. Jade a maintenant 13 ans et elle est au collège. Elle travaille consciencieusement. Clovis aura 11 ans en fin d'année et il est toujours plein de vie. Tu leur manques énormément et ils sont très impatients de te voir lors de ta prochaine visite. Nous te préparerons une visite exceptionnelle avec beaucoup d'activités, avec dîner en famille. On t'embrasse très fort. Bisous.